Let's hope to get some racing on the cards tonight and not sit at our desks for 3 hours in the wet. Welcome everyone to Invictus Racing League. This is the PTF1 League and it's time for round 7 at Spa, sponsored by GT Omega and in partnership with gridfinder.com and Driver61. A fan favourite, a driver favourite and a favourite if you're a fan of getting away for a weekend spa retreat. A world famous modern health resort makes Spa the place to be. Historians don't turn a blind eye on Belgium either. The country is said to have the highest number of castles per square kilometre in the world and over 3,000 nestled within its borders. Castle fortifications may not be a track, but you'll certainly need a plan of attack for the longest track on the calendar. 4.35 miles and 19 corners make up Spa-Francorchamps, with the like of Eau Rouge, Radion and Blanchimont just some of the recognisable names around the track. 2 DRS zones and margins for error so small, any mistake could be race ending. We come here from the shortest track on the calendar and face a mid-season break next week. Cameron, do you think the drivers will be looking to maximise points today before the break?
Yeah, good evening everyone. Welcome to another round here at Invictus Racing League with 6 rounds down and with around 9 more to go, including Belgium. We are nearing the business end of the season indeed, and that's further noted by the fact that this is the last race before we have a mid-season break before we head over to Sochi. Therefore, building confidence in the 7th round of the 15-round season is crucial for not only this race but also looking towards the future. A driver, oh dear, we're having all sorts of issues here. A driver that seems to have powers of confidence is Kangaskhan, who leads the championship by 29 points, a grand total of 58 points to the Frenchman's name. And that strong lead, paired with the total of points, means he can afford almost 2 DNFs and still be right up there in the title fight. And then looking at the team standings, McLaren last round with their all-new driver lined up gained a haul of points, promoting McLaren themselves into a packed midfield fight up there with the likes of Red Bull, Alpine and Alfa Romeo. But that was all last week, and we'll soon be debating the action that's going to happen this week. Few little notes though. No Acosta this week, nor Edu, nor Jekyll. And if we look at the stewards' findings for, the last round, it was certainly a busy one, as there was a 5-second penalty for Edu, who's not here this week, who readied up early before the admins said so, which is a cardinal rule to do, unfortunately, in this league. And also there was a 30-second penalty, plus 3 points, for Marcus, who had contact coming through turn 8. He then went off the track at turn 9 and returned to the track in an unsafe manner, causing contact between himself and Meyer, which led to a wing damage for Meyer. And that was not all for Marcus. He himself then gained 10-second penalty plus another licence point for going into turn 4. On the last lap, he made a late dive on Owen, which led to contact, which pushed Bashi off track, losing him position. So that penalty, along with the previous penalty, equals a total of 40 seconds and 4 licence points in total for Marcus. So that will lead to a 2-point deduction from the drivers and constructors points, so the team aren't going to be too happy, and 1 more licence point will lead to a race ban. Apart from that, there's a couple racing incidents involving some overtakes. However, as I said previously, they were deemed racing incidents, and so that is all for last round, as we now look at a couple cars looking to get out on track here in Belgium. Fozzie.
Yes, here in Belgium, getting out on track, something we didn't see too much in the real world this year. Obviously the rain came down and made itself quite known then. At the moment things are looking dry, but as we say every week, we know which way that can go normally. When it's PTF1 time, we normally get a bit of rain in one of the sessions. A lot of cars getting out on the track already. We've got 4 cars out there at the moment, all on the soft tyres, apart from the Alpha Tauri of Bashi, who's going out on the medium tyres. Last time around we saw Merckx and Kangaskhan start the race on the mediums, going for the alternate strategy as Bashi looks to take the racing line onto the grass there, maybe fiddling around with his buttons and just looking who is in his mirrors. It's not as bad as the likes of Austria where we were last week in terms of traffic on qualifying laps. It's such a long lap, the longest on the calendar, that cars do tend to be quite spread out, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue traffic when it comes to getting your flying laps in. But yeah, like we say, some drivers might just want to get to grips with this track. We know it can be quite difficult with the curbs, especially in the F1 2021 game by Codemasters. Some of the curbs can be a little bit treacherous if you get on them a bit too much, especially the likes of Blanchimont, but we see drivers coming up to in just a few corners time. Pouon as well is quite a dangerous one. So got to be careful taking those curbs, but if you want to get a good lap time, then you have to be taking risks where you can, Cameron.
And someone who wants to be taking a couple of risks on his birthday is Daigoro, who has his birthday today. So we say happy birthday to Daigoro, the Ferrari driver 66 car on an outlap at the moment, and will be looking to start his first qualifying lap fairly shortly. So really nice to celebrate people's birthdays. There's a bit of rain in the air there, Fozzie. Just seeing that come in on the screen. And do you want to take us on a lap with Daigoro?
Yeah, let's go on a lap with the Ferrari driver as we come up to La Source, one of, if not the slowest corner on the track. We can see it during the race. This is going to be quite a pinch point. We've seen contact quite a lot in the past. Don't rule it out for this evening as well. But then you're near enough flat all through Sector 1 as you go through one of the most iconic corners in Formula 1. And yes, that is rain. It's a little bit of a slightly caught out there. It was Daigoro. I saw him twitch with the steering wheel as he went across Radion. These laps could be crucial then. If it's going to become wet, your times are going to be slower, so everyone's going to want to try and put a quick lap in now. Daigoro does go for the purple Sector 1 there. He's only the second or third car to go round through Sector 1, so that's understandable. But now we're coming up to Bruxelles. It's the highest point on the track around here as you slowly make your way down to the infamous Turn 9, known by the name of, well, no name, because it doesn't have a specific name, and then it's flat out down towards the double apex left-hander of Pouon. Turns 10, kissing the apex, following all the way round, trying to keep it on the black stuff through 11, and then you're coming down to the tightest part of the track, a little bit of a left-right chicane, right-left chicane. Yeah, as he goes a little bit wide there, maybe getting caught out by the rain, but the soft tyres helping him get a quick lap in. It looks like we have a Haas-off at Le Combs as well. Not quite sure who that is. I don't know if he's out of a session. Might be Owen is vibing, as we have no Edu today. In fact, it most likely is going to be Owen is vibing. Anyway, back on board with the Ferrari though as we head down flat out through Sector 3 up towards Blanchimont. Like I say, be careful of the curb on the left, as otherwise you might be finding yourself in the tyre barrier, and then up to the bus stop chicane. No longer looks like a bus stop, but is crucial for your lap time. If you can get the apex right here, you'll be able to carry the speed across the line. He manages to do that quite well, does the Ferrari driver. What can he muster up? He can muster up a P2. Although that is over a second behind LTB RSD in the McLaren.
Yeah, you're going to get that, I think, because it's going to come down to whoever went out the earliest is going to get the best benefit with a wetter track every single second that we look at, as Meyer claims pole position very close to him and Undertaker. So you could see here, if the normal faster cars haven't got out early, you could see a bit of a shaked up grid, but Meyer taking pole position seems to put that threat at bay. And you have to think it could be a bit of a quiet qualifying. If they get their laps in now, then they might end up just going to the garage, because a wet track is never going to be as fast as a dry track. As again, McLaren really showing they've got pace with this new lineup. RSD up there in third position, 2/10 off the prime time, although 1:44.314. We say McLaren with the new lineup sort of shot themselves into a fight really with likes of their midfield teams and Red Bull, etc. So. And that 2-point deduction that Marcus has might end up costing them in the long run. Could be very evidential for the championship. And then you look at Jeremy Clarkson and Merckx, quite close to each other. 3/10 separate the two around quite a long track. As you mentioned, one of the longest tracks around. And yeah, it seems to be a pretty good amount of laps in for the drivers. But you have to think there are a couple. Liam Markham, for example, who hasn't seemed to got a lap time, and I stand corrected because he sets in a lap time, 3.4 seconds off the pace though. And Belgium is difficult. It is very difficult. It's not like last year's game where you could just simply get out and around and get a lap in. You have to be very careful of these curbs, especially the likes of, Pouon's always been a bit of a difficulty. It's Mystarius who's finding difficulties himself, hasn't managed to set a lap time, keeps invalidating them. That's going to be quite, a bit of a shake-up for Aston Martin there. Because with a wetter track, he's come into the pits. That could be it for Mystarius here so early on, Fozzie. And we'll have to see what they can do. If he can get out and set a lap time, he might pip a few of them. But you have to say, there is quite a big gap when you start looking towards the times from pole position, especially between the likes of Bashi on that medium tyre. But the top five within within a second of each other. As I don't know whether you hear that on the stream, but it come up on my main Skype with the main PC that Skype was going. It's how Fozzie and I communicate with each other visually through these times in order to make sure that we can not talk over each other too much. So we're having a bit of an interesting session already, mixed with that some on Skype, as Mert has retired from the session. So already seeing that, it's not going to get any better, is it? The conditions. As you see, wow, Kangaskhan drifting into the pit lane. The Frenchman finding his way around that Williams car. As DRS is disabled there from race control. So officially, Inter's weather is what when you go onto the Inter's now if you're in a race situation. Kind of the best timing for it. But now it could be very quiet as Mystaris heads out on the intermediates just to try and set a time. Teaming on the Kemmel straight. It is a bit of a balancing act here at Belgium, whether you go low downforce to get all the advantage on the straight through sector 1, or whether you take a little bit more downforce and try and balance the car through the middle and third sectors to help with the race. As Mystaris there once again invalidates his lap. The car swung out too far to the left, went over that white line. And the game's very rigid, very tough, and that is another lap invalidated for him. Owen is vibing, also out, still out on the soft tyres. That's going to be quite tough, as we do see drivers retiring. They've had enough. They've got their running in, as Owen is just trying to set a lap time here. Don't think it's going to be anything too marvellous. Oh, he's not going to set a lap time. He's drifting across the line, 90 degrees, facing the wrong direction, manages to get back on track, and does not set anything at all, because that was his outlap.
DeLonge is going for it on the soft tyres still. He's really going for it down the Kemmel straight, going for a flying lap. Does he think the rain's not going to come down anymore? I'm not seeing as much rain on my screen, and he has just set a purple sector 1. So could those who've retired from the session be regretting it? Because it might actually start to get a little bit drier. Who knows?
Look at his cornering speed,
retired as well. Yeah, his cornering speed through those corners, definitely not up there, but he definitely had that purple sector 1, but he might throw it all the way through sector 2 here, not getting a very good timing at all. You can see, as you mentioned, the cornering speed isn't quite there for DeLonge. Do you think someone like Bashi regretted going out on the medium tyres to begin with then, Cameron? Do you think that he thought, maybe we can think some strategy? Do you think he's going to keep strategy in his mind and sacrifice qualifying a bit, or do you think that he's going to have wished he went out on the soft and got a good time in?
Right, you look at...
like you say, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, but the thing is, right, the car... as around goes DeLonge,
that's a big one.
And that is going to be a busy time in the garage.
He was pushing on the soft tyres.
Yeah,
definitely pushing on the soft tyres there. I think even the Williams driver has admitted to himself it's probably time for the wet weather tyres, the intermediates. You see Undertaker currently P2 out on an out lap as well. He's just going around poo on at the moment. And very nearly losing it on the curbs.
As I was going to say, as we're watching the drivers fight the conditions and the track, Bashi's, I think he's okay here because the cars behind him aren't probably going to improve on his lap. And he's kind of P11, which is tactical pole position, especially in a track that's so long around here. Getting massive undercut. And he looks to start on the medium tyre. Sorry, I saw that Alpine facing, I thought it was the wrong way there, and that got me right in the stomach. But he's okay. He's still going, in the direction he should be, which is towards the finish line on the Inters. Definitely is Inters weather, though. It is a very wet track. It's interesting how quickly the track went from dry to wet. The forecasting lock up into bus stop, which we probably see for dramatic effect. And I think he's going to call it a day there. Yep, indeed. He's had a feel for the grip. He should be happy with a front row start here. 7 minutes left in qualifying. Does mean that we might not see as much competitive running in qualifying, but Kangaskhan is out again on an out lap. And is Mystaris still going around? He is still going around indeed, coming up towards turn 18, the bus stop chicane. He's going to go on to try and set a lap time. He's yet to do so. He could pip Owen here. By setting a lap time. There we go. But 9.6 seconds off the pace. So that confirms to me that Bashi is in a pretty safe spot to be. And it's just going to be... I think this is our running order. It's going to depend now between Owen, DeLange, Jasper, how they sort themselves out. I think DeLange is going to regret, though, not setting a lap time early on. Same with the likes of Mystaris, really. He had opportunities, just going too wide through Brussels. And unfortunately, that ended up compromising him. The Aston Martin Cognizant team... But, there's your order. Meyer on pole. We expect him to keep that position, but Undertaker joining him alongside with RSD. Only 2 tenths back. Whoa, look at that Aston Martin drifting around those corners there. Managed to keep it on track that time. absolutely swinging it through, drifting to the left, through the right, and then through the next right again. But very, very trepid on throttle here. You have to be so careful, just manipulating the car just in the right direction, balancing the car on the brake when you need to, and it's difficult, especially with turn 10, P1, and that's really difficult in the dry, especially when dirty air. But it will be interesting to see, Fozzie. I don't know, I mean, I always go low downforce here just to get the most opportunity to overtake on the straights, and then just hanging in around the rest of the corners. But it will be interesting to see if we do have a wet race, or whether it's going to be a dry race and it's just a wet qualifying, because that will change it all up strategically.
Yeah, it really will change it all up strategically, as you say. Couldn't have put it better myself. It'll be interesting to see what the weather's like when it comes to the race. But as you say, at the moment, it's rain in quali at Spa. Something we're not too unfamiliar with, and I don't expect the running order on the left-hand side of your screen to change all too much from what we've got at the moment. We see it Kicklin retiring from the session as well. I think quite a few drivers are just retiring now. They've got their running in, they're happy with where they are. As you say, Owen, DeLange and Jasper all still to set a time, so we'll have to see how they do as well. Your championship leader, Kangakan, went for a flying lap and realised he's not going to improve on where he has been. He comes into the pits and I suspect may retire as well. And it's a retire for Meyer up in pole position. Looks like it's provisional pole for the Red Bull driver, unless anybody can somehow muster up a time that is faster than the 1:44.3, but I don't suspect that's going to be happening in the slightest. Anyway, Owen is vibing, is about to cross the line to put his first time on the board. No, he's not. It looks like he's going to start a lap. My apologies. I thought he was just finishing a lap.
Maybe do think,
was invalidated.
With the cars here that are doing their running, they're not going to set any impressive lap times, but I think it's good for them just to get a bit of wet running, because we don't know what the rest of the season is going to hold, do we? So you need to be able to drive in the wet in order to put up a championship fight. And although potentially for the B1, the top spot of the championship might be a set deal, although we can't rule anything out of the cards. But especially the battle between the constructors. I mean, you look at Mercedes and Alpine actually joint on points, both with 45 points. And if we look at where they currently are on the time tower, you've got Undertaker in P2 for Jasper. Alpine, and then you've got the Mercedes of Clarkson and Merckx, both in P5 and 6. So it's interesting to see how this is going to affect that battle there. And again, the likes of Red Bull and McLaren, 37 and 44 points respectively. So it is really close between the rest of the teams. But Williams up front with 68 points. So they've got a little bit of room to play with. A lot of it at the hands of Akanga Connor. Wow! Undertaker, massive moment on the throttle there. Yeah, he's just a little bit wiggle just to make sure he's still in the right direction.
I thought someone was heading for a retirement not via the pause menu that time. That was a bit too close for comfort. Whilst Cameron was just talking about the standings in the Constructors' Championship, Jasper jumped up to P13. So maybe he'll be able to work from that position, and we'll see how he does come the race. We have 2 minutes and 50 on the clock remaining. It's Owen and DeLange yet to set a time, both on flying laps though. Owen coming up to the bus stop, so let's ride on board with Owen and just follow how he's doing. He's got one more corner to go. Can he keep it going well? He does quite well to get it out of the final corner. Owen is vibing. Owen is jumping up to P13 ahead of Jasper. It's DeLange, the only one yet to set a time, but he's still got a sector and a half to go yet, so we'll have to see what he can do. The best he's probably going to get is, I'd say, P13 DeLange, unless he can pull out a stonking lap and jump a little bit further up ahead. But at the moment, yeah, it is DeLange, the only one not to set a time. And most of the drivers retiring, happy with where they have set their times.
Yeah, Meyer on pole, actually second in the championship now. We'll be looking to make a bit of a gap on Acosta, who isn't actually here this evening. So pretty easy job going there. But the likes of Undertaker, who is currently fourth in the championship with 23 points, sits right behind Undertaker as DeLange rounds the final corner to hopefully put a lap time on the board, easy on the throttle. You see the car shifting around as it tries to gain traction, and he is P16, 10.9 seconds off the pace. So, as we said earlier, it's going to be Meyer on pole position, Undertaker joining on the front row, and another second row position for McLaren there, RSD. Putting in the hard work early on.
Haas round.
And there is a Haas round. That could only be Owen. Owen is spinning, as you mentioned in previous times, as the Owen is and then verb is it seems to be a procedure that we follow here in Invictus Racing League. When you have a name like that, it does hand it to us. It's like an easy, low-hanging fruit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Maybe Owen is regretting going with that.
Yeah. Anyway, Owen is proceeding towards most likely the pits here, and will be most likely bringing an end to his running as he's 30 seconds off his personal best on a Sector 2 split, which is what happens when you spin. And that is a lot of rain. I don't know whether... I mean, it's technically a day in between the quali and the race, or 10 minutes for us, or 5 minutes. But I reckon if we're in for a wet race, it's going to be fun. I do kind of hope it's dry.
If we get running, we saw what that was like in the real world.
Well, yeah. I just appreciate the fact, everyone, that we've got cars going around track on a virtually wet track. As the 24 car, I thought he was going to pit then. I think he thought he was going to pit and ended up just carrying on anyway, as he struggled to...
It's definitely got wetter, hasn't it?
It is, yeah. It's properly getting wet. Now, I don't know what the conditions are going to be like for the next portion of the race weekend. Wow, you hear the Haas screeching. I mean, Haas probably screeching anyway, but you hear it probably screeching on throttle there. As the Emirates fly better. Hopefully no cars come flying off through Radion. We'll stick to the line. Actually looks pretty planted there, as qualifying has officially come to an end. And we have Jasper on track, Owen on track, and Delange on track, battling out for the top position of P13. Who can claim what? Delange is about to cross the line. What can he do? Stays P16. Now Jasper crosses the line, and he also stays P14. So Owen will start P13, which is a good place to be. Well, I think I read somewhere, Fossey, in a Jensen Button novel that 13th is one of the worst places to be because of the percentages that you're about to crash. And there we go,
even worse place to be as he sends it into the arm cove there. A little bit too heavy on the throttle at the end of qualifying. Manages to keep all of his tyres and wheels attached to the chassis of that car, but leaves the scene of the accident without a front wing. He's going to have to slowly make his way around P1 and back to the pits. But yeah, that was...
Will he get there?
He's taking a slightly wider line.
Will we get there back before the time remaining?
Not too sure.
Well, we've got 2 minutes remaining. Hopefully he should get back in time. It will be nice to finish in the pits. As I was going to say, P13 quite an unlucky place to start, as said there. I'll tell you what, that Haas is pretty strong to hit a barrier at that kind of speed and just let a wing pop off. That's some pretty strong arms there. As there we go, the official retirement for Owen. He will start 13th, and that brings a wrap on qualifying as he pulls over to the right. Yeah, I do that as well. Yeah, there we go. That was an interesting qualifying session. A bit of a mix-up. Very early moves and early action proceeded to find us a pole sitter of the Dane of Meyer in the Red Bull racing car. His teammate will line up on the second row in P4. 2 Danes in the top 4, and Undertaker in the Alpine joins Meyer on the front row. RSD P3. Another points haul on the cards for McLaren. Mercedes, a little bit of work to do. P5 and P6. Looking locked in with that battle with the likes of Red Bull and Alpine here. And Kangaskhan, the championship leader, he has points to lose. He starts P7 with his fellow Frenchman, Daigoro, who celebrates his birthday as a birthday treat of P8 in the Ferrari. And I can't remember the rest because they've gone off my screen. As we wait to go towards the race session, Fozzie, do you reckon wet or dry?
If you give me 10 seconds, I'll tell you what I think the answer's going to be. And if I just scratch my head and have a think, something tells me that it might be dry.
Might be dry, yeah. Tell you what, I was just thinking that. Well, that's impressive, isn't it?
Very dry, very dry. It doesn't look like there's any clouds in the sky at all, so maybe we're in for a full dry session, which would be bliss for us in the commentary box, but we always like it when there's a bit of rain, a bit of strategy, shake-ups as well, always proves itself to be quite the fun time. Yes,
talking strategy.
Maya and Undertaker on pole. Go on, Cameron.
Yeah, sorry, talking strategy, because it's a wet qualifying, I believe they can choose whatever tyre they want. Even for the top 10. So we might see some medium tyres, some hard tyres, some soft tyres. It's 22 laps. Medium tyres are a very strong race tyre to begin on, but the soft gives you that grip advantage where the medium just doesn't. And that is ever so crucial for making up positions through the lap 1 chaos, as we simply await the drivers to get ready, wait for the players to then proceed on a formation lap. And who knows what will happen during the 22 laps of running at Spa. Situated in the Ardennes Forest, a very pretty place in Belgium, very picturesque. And yeah, so 25 seconds officially until the formation lap begins. They've all begun to ready up, etc. It's a procedure that you must be careful at doing, or else you might find yourself with a penalty. But hopefully there won't be too many penalties tonight. However, we have no say on the matter. We only have a commentator's curse that we can just bring out at any time, and that is our constitutional power. It feels like here we can just do that whenever we want, and magic happens as the cable cam heads towards turn 1. Anyway, that's enough filler. Here comes the formation lap. There we go.
The formation lap.
So Maya on the Red Bull starts on pole position. What can he do? Will he be able to hold on for 22 laps? We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, let's see what he can do. Undertaker not too far behind him as well. But I think everybody's going to be looking to try and make up some positions in this race, because we know that Spa is a track, unlike the likes of maybe Monaco and Hungary, where you are able to overtake. So if it might have been a dismal qualifying for some people, it might turn out to be quite good for the rest of the race. They might be able to get some moves in. We know the DRS can be very strong down the Kemmel Straight. The one into La Source maybe not so, but if you can get a good drive out of the bus stop chicane, you might be in a good position to make a bit of an overtake into turn 1.
Indeed, and we see the cars wiggling around, trying to warm up their tyres. The top 10 all starting on the softs. 4 cars start on the mediums. That's Bashi, Markham, Jasper and Mystarius. They will look to go longer as Belgium produces more than 220,000 tonnes of chocolate per year. So I'm sure the drivers will be looking for an equally sweet result at the end of 22 laps around here at Spa. There was your predicted pit stop strategy. We'll see how that plays out. A couple of drivers might be having an unpredicted pit stop early on in. Chaos can occur around such a track with tight, twisty sections and long straights. It's the perfect storm for a perfect race. You know, the media runners here, P11, that's a good place to be. Nice moves to be made, although the wet qualifying might have hampered that. You got drivers like Marcus who needs to keep his hands clean this race, or else he could end up with a race ban, and that will hamper any chances towards his campaign here in Invictus Racing League Season 13 PCF1. Brought to you in partnership with GT Omega, Driver 61 and Grid Finder. Check out our partners in the description below, and we thank you for watching us so far, and I hope you can stay for the full duration of what's going to be an insane race, Fozzie.
Yeah, I wonder how many times we're going to mix up an AlphaTauri and a Red Bull. Red Bull's still got that white livery on it, so expect that to happen a few times over the next 40 minutes, the next 22 laps, and the next full Grand Prix, as Cameron says here at Invictus Racing League, the PCF1 League. Cannot wait to get underway. We see Meyer taking his position tentatively at pole position. It's a fairly long run down towards turn 1, long enough for you to make a few positions if you get a good start. Our pole sitter has RSD and the McLaren behind him, ready to pick up the slipstream where he can. We see the final cars making their way onto the grid now. Here we go, Cameron.
Yeah, here we go then. It's time for the Belgium Grand Prix. We see the lights illuminate. 4, 5 red lights. We await the action to begin, and there we go. We are underway. 22 laps around Spa has begun. It's good move for Mir, already up into P2. It's through La Source. It's easy to get trapped and end up wide and end up outside, but no calamity so far. All cars making through except from the AlphaTauri. Bashi is around. We head up through to Erouge and Radion. We've got Alpine, McLaren and Mercedes fighting it wheel to wheel all the way through. They sort themselves out as LTB, RSD P4, Clarkson P5, Mert P6. So it's still Meyer holds on, but it's Amir, the Dane, who started 4th, up into 2nd position. Here's a move potentially from the McLaren, too far back from the Alpine. Undertaker holds position, but RSD has the pressure put on him from Clarkson and Mert behind. The two Mercs working together to try and get themselves up the grid. They're all on the soft tyres, and here comes a move from the McLaren, looking towards the inside. We head towards No Name. Alpine still ahead of the Papaya car, Blue ahead of Papaya, but Mercedes still trapped behind the likes of RSD. They cannot get the move down through Pouon. There has been an incident. A Haas Owen's vibing at No Name. Not too sure what happened there, but up front Meyer leads 4 tenths from Amir.
Here goes RSD, the McLaren making a move on Undertaker to get up into the podium position. The Alpine's not going to let it go that easy, but he's going to go around. Undertaker goes around, spins, manages to keep it going. He doesn't go fully off the track. He spins around conveniently, keeps facing in the right direction, but it is a Red Bull 1 and 2 here as Amir makes up 2 positions at the start of this this race. That McLaren was looking racy from the moment the lights went out, but Merckx and Clarkson are not too far behind him. Will the Mercedes be able to make a jump into bus stop? Well, keep your eyes on Jeremy Clarkson. He's in the slipstream, currently P4. He's smelling a podium and he's cutting the grass as he tries to go around and into bus stop. He has the inside line there, but McLaren, like Alpine, won't let it go too easily. Yeah, great traction there. The McLaren manages to stay up in P3. Merckx is going to have to go on his teammate into La Source, is he? Yes, he is. Down the inside goes the Mercedes driver of Merckx on his teammate. His teammate doesn't seem to fight it too much, but they're going to be almost side by side on their way as they make their way down towards Eau Rouge. Clarkson thinks better of it and backs off, lets his teammate go ahead. Is he going to take a move down into Le Combs even, get the track names right?
Here comes the power of the slipstream. No DRS just yet. We see the train being formed, and you have to say, Amir looks to be the conductor, 9/10 away from Meyer already. He was out of DRS contention early on in lap 1, managed to regain a little bit through slipstreams. We see Jeremy Clarkson trying to hang on, the Mercedes behind his teammate, too far back to make a move, but the gaps are close between the entire pack here, and the Wolves are hungry and they're wanting more. Here we see Jasper making moves up to P9 already on lap 2 of 22 here at Spa. No incidents once again through No Name. Owen had to take a pit stop, looks to have broken his wing or some form of incident occurred, but it's now Amir P2, started P4. It's two Danes in the top 2 positions of this Belgium Grand Prix, and RSD is looking to change that. Merckx again behind him. Merckx is looking for a nice consistent run here. If you can get the power down through Blanchimont, etc., you stand a chance. There's a yellow flag, and I believe that is Bashi, Fozzie.
Yeah, Bashi had a bit of a moment. He's gone around for the second time this race. I think that one, though, was all his own fault and not too much for the likes of other people. Your championship leader, Kankakun, is looking hungry for more points. He's P6 and he's lining up and moving into the bus stop on the 2 Mercedes in front of him. Oh, as he very nearly loses his front wing, going into the back of Jeremy Clarkson. Is he able to get a good drive out of the bus stop? Well, Clarkson moves over to the left. Kankakun follows to try and get the slipstream. They're weaving as they make their way down towards La Source. Who's going to come out on top of this one? Kankakun's going to try and go round the outside. Clarkson's going to shut the door and say no thank you as they make their way down towards Eau Rouge, getting on the power. We know what the slipstream is like, but we also know what DRS is like on this lap as well. Meyer looks comfortable up ahead, but he's still within DRS range of Amir, who might just be able to pip him either in this lap or the lap following. Kangakun is right behind Jeremy Clarkson, trying to get the slipstream on the right hand side. Is he going to be able to make a move? Who's going to brake latest as we go down towards turn 5? It's going to be the Williams trying to go around the outside. Kangakun does a great move there into Lecombs, and he manages to fight off Jeremy Clarkson. Clarkson gets a bit squiggly coming out of Malmedy, but he manages to keep it going. He's going to be fighting back for that position. This is not over yet.
Absolute supreme levels of grip in that Williams car now. Kangakun, can he charge on to the likes of Merckx, or will he suffer at the hands of Clarkson, who wants that position back? Kangakun up 2 positions from where he started. The biggest losers of the early stage is Undertaker, down 10 positions after that spin, and potentially a little bit of contact could be reviewed in the steward's room, but that's for later. This is now Kangakun charging towards Merckx. There is another yellow flag. That is Owen once again. The Haas are having a predicament here. They're having a terrible Grand Prix, and he's P16 out of the points and 22 seconds off his nearest car, and that gap might just get a little longer, but Kangakun wanting the gaps to be a little shorter between him and Merckx. 6 attempts, not going to make a move, but someone who might is RSD on Amir, charging through towards the latter end of the lap, towards the bus stop. Too far back now. It's all about traction, taking the nice line, keeping a little bit of power through the chicane to try and maximise your differentials, as the gap between Maya and Amir has come down considerably. 6 tenths through DRS. Look at this DRS train now, Fozzie. It's starting to enact itself, and you have to worry about Maya. He could get caught up here through the DRS down the Kemmel. Let's just wait and see. The 2 Honda liveried Red Bulls are making their way towards Rouge, up through Radion shortly. RSC looking like he has slightly less downforce, might have a little bit more straight line speed. Let's see though what can happen along here. The Mercs are looking for a bit of a taste of the pie too. DRS is enabled now, as we mentioned last lap, and they're all charging towards it. Is there going to be a move? The McLaren looks towards the inside, backs out, and there is no move for RSD. He holds on for another couple corners.
Liam Markin, very vulnerable down the Kemmel straight. He hadn't got any DRS. He lost 2 positions and his contact there with the Williams, I believe, or the Alpine, one of them, as Liam Markham tries to fight his way through the field. This has been a very close fight going on for about a lap. I've been following it while you've been keeping your eyes on the battle at the top end of the points. Mystarius made a very daring move into Lafreniere just last lap. Managed to lose a couple of positions there as we have a yellow flag in sector 1 again. And looks like Owen out at Radion. He has retired from the session. Maybe he had a bit of an incident, but that is one Haas down. And we are down, to 15 drivers in this race now. It's been a chaotic 4 laps so far, and we're not over yet, Cameron.
This is just what I expected, Fozzie. This has the recipe to be an almighty Grand Prix. All the ingredients are in the pot, and that pot is cooking well. No safety car from race control. We are under fully green flag conditions throughout the entire racing lap, and RSD is looking very racy indeed, just gaining little by little on Amir. Amir is having to play that second teammate role there. Red Bull just hold on to ensure that Meyer takes away and gets those points. But you do wonder, should they come to the position, will Amir fight with Meyer, or will they play the team game? Well, RSE has no team game to play here. His teammate's down in 9th, he's up P3, and it could be P1 come the end of this race. The Papaya car charging now, good traction. Mert behind him, 5 tenths. He's got 3 tenths to make up on the Red Bull, but Amir ahead of him has DRS2. That is the biggest issue here. You're seeing a trade form, and unfortunately, if you haven't got a massive pace difference, it's hard to make a move. But let's see if any moves will be made now. Mert clambering on, and there is nothing from the top 5. They remain stable. Red Bull, McLaren, and Mercedes. But Kangakon still up 2 positions. Clarkson remaining in 6th, down from where he started, and that is your top 6. Daigoro, P7, up 1 position for race side. The birthday boy is having a decent race so far. Let's see if he can light the candles on his car and get any more positions gained here. But 5 tenths separate the 2 Danes, and there could be a daring Danish move in a couple laps for the race lead, Fozzie.
RSD making some good moves up at the front. His teammate Jasper up in P8 making a couple of moves with the help of DRS on this lap as well. So both McLarens showing their form, helping themselves in the Constructors' Championship and crawling back from the lower positions of the Championship where they currently stand. McLaren are currently... they're currently 4th from the Championship after great 2 rounds. We had Silverstone and Austria where they performed absolutely fantastic, helped by the driver change. Jasper's was set a purple sector 2 as well, so he's definitely got some pace on those medium tyres. How's it looking up at the front though? Well, we see LTD RSD's trying to gain on that Red Bull of Amir, but the Red Bulls have got some great pace on them, Cameron, haven't they? They're really able to stay out there on those soft tyres. Let's see how long they can take those soft tyres and how far into the race they're able to take them. And what laps do you think we're going to start seeing some pit stops happen?
I reckon, well, the soft tyre could last around half the Grand Prix, I reckon. I mean, I've been trying to do a dual career with my friend in career mode, but we're in a Haas, so we have to box every 2 laps. But Daigoro here hasn't had to box yet, and the birthday boy's on a charge against Jeremy Clarkson, who's looking a little bit vulnerable down the straights. Now, what can Daigoro do? He's had a good exit. We'll get DRS, so will Clarkson have DRS to mainly defend. 3 tenths separate the Ferrari and Mercedes. Ferrari and Mercedes, we see great battles in the past, in real life, between these 2 giants of the sport. And there's one heating up here for P6 in the points, but no move made into Lecombe. It's going to take potentially moved towards the end of the lap into the bus stop chicane, turn 18. But we've got to get around the rest of the lap just yet. Kerlin hasn't managed to get around the lap cleanly, and there is a 3-second penalty. And Undertaker has retired from the lap, and there is a safety car has been deployed on lap 6 of 22. Now this is where your pit stops are coming, Fozzie, I reckon.
Yep, your pit stops are probably going to jump in now. Didn't quite catch what happened to Undertaker, but it looks like somewhere between turns 7 and 8, he has had an off. So it's not been too great for him. Bit of team radio from Owen. He says he had a bit of floor damage and he had a lot of understeer, which is maybe what caused him to retire from the race just a few laps ago up around the Yovu's Radion complex. But yeah, this safety car, as we see on every track, bunches the pack together, and it all kicks off in just a few laps when that safety car goes in. But Cameron, we were expecting to see a safety car here. In the one of the PlayStation races last night, there were, I think, 4 safety cars. So will we see that amount? Well, 6 laps in and we've already got 1, so don't rule out another one later in this race. But yeah, we might see a few people come into the pits now. Let's have a look at what they do as they make their way up to the bus stop chicane. We see your race leader, Meyer, coming into the pits. He's followed by his teammate, so double stacking at Red Bull. This could be tight.
Yeah, poor
Let's see
Amir.
how well this goes. It looks like everybody coming into the pits as well, apart from Jasper, who has stayed out and takes the race lead at the moment.
It's painful, isn't it? It's painful for Amir.
It is painful, it's slow. It's not what the Red Bull outfit would have wanted. They're ready for him. It's medium tyres for both drivers, but he's going to lose out a bit here.
Traffic as well.
Here's Amir, double stack. Traffic, as you say, they're all diving into the pits. It's like the M25 in Spa here. Everybody's coming into the pits. Let's see how they all filter out.
Yeah, and it looks like Mert, Amir would have got sacrificed heavily though there for the team. I wonder if he sort of made the call and then regretted it immediately as soon as he saw his teammate heading into the pits. But that will help him out in the long run. It's better to take the pit stop now when you're backed up in the pack. But Amir now in P9, Jasper staying out, same with Bastarius to take track position. However, I do feel that you make the most of the safety cars provided. But bear in mind, Jasper and Mastarius are both on medium tyres. They've been on them since the start of the Grand Prix. So only 6-7 laps on those tyres has been done in race mode. So they can go a little bit longer. But fresh rubber is going to make it a little bit fun at the race restart. Daigoro, interestingly, on a new fresh set of soft tyres. Not too sure what he was on before. I happen to think softs as well, so interesting move there. They're not going to make it to the end. I wonder if that was a little bit of a communication issue during the pit stop phase, or whether that is just a sublime strategy move from the Ferrari outfit, something we don't necessarily see in real life too often, as Bashi has been given a penalty as well. And did you know, Fossey, that the longest tram line in the world is along the Belgian coast, and it's 68 kilometres on the Belgian coast. That connects between the French and Dutch borders. Now, the track's a little bit shorter, it's about 7 kilometres here, but if we are going at tram-like speeds, and that's because under safety car, you are having to be backed up in the pack. And yeah, Mastarius getting a penalty there. Now, these can be, depending on the outfit, yeah, that's the thing, right? If you contact a driver on a safety car, no matter if you're the driver in front or the driver back, you end up getting a penalty by the game, a 5-second penalty, and those can be made redundant during the stewarding process, but that does take a little bit of time. I myself done a little bit of stewarding on PSF3, and it is a interesting thing to do. So we thank our stewards and other personnel such as race directors and organisers and the drivers, as well as you lovely people for tuning in each week to watch us go racing virtually around virtual tracks with virtual cars, and we really enjoy it. And that is entertainment. And there we go. So lap 8, safety car probably will be in this lap, I'd imagine, as Fossey is currently away and just having some difficulties, I believe. So Maya...
Yeah, just minor spillage of a drink, but nothing too much to worry about. Mind your microphone. Yeah,
sorry. You're spilling drinks, I'm knocking the microphone, and the cars are trying not to hit each other. It's a lovely little thing we have going on. But Maya, that 5-second penalty, he will hopefully look to get that removed, because that is going to be crucial for him, considering he was leading the race quite well as well. I mean, he sacrificed his teammates' race down in P9, and so hopefully that isn't going to cause too many issues for him. I should be saying arigato, and that'll be it for his race, essentially. But Mert,
what does arigato mean?
I believe it means thank you. I think it means thank you. So
what language?
Japanese.
Oh.
If you look at the back of the Red Bull wing, it's lovely. It's nice there for you. You see, I think.
Oh, okay. I wondered where you plucked that from.
Yeah, well,
I did wonder where that.
We've been graced with this lovely
international knowledge came from.
Yeah, we've been graced with this lovely white Red Bull livery, so I thought, well, I'd make the most of it, you know. Yeah, we only had it for a week in real life, and we've got it for, it seems like forever in the game. Although it will be nice to get the old livery back, but it's nice to see some change as well. So basically, I've argued myself there, and we see them warming up the tyres. Mediums again will make it to the end of this race. But whether the drivers will, with all 4 wheels on the car, that begs another question. But Kangaskhan, up to P5, said championship leader. He won't mind it, really, I don't think. Purely because he's leading the championship by 29 points, and that is almost 2 race wins. 50 points for a race win in Invictus Racing League. So, yeah, 30 points needed to 2 race wins. There's some maths for you as well. We've got international language referencing and maths. What more could you want? This is an intellectual stream.
What I would want is a very good safety car restart, and I think that is what we're going to get this time round. Before we get underway, before it all kicks off again, just keep your eyes on the skies over the next few laps. The sun's definitely gone in, but we'll worry about that if the heavens do open up. At the moment, it is Jasper that is going to be leading this safety car restart, so we'll see how he does on that on the medium tyres. It's mediums all the way back to Daigoro, who, as we say, maybe there was a bit of communication error in the pit stops. He's going to be committing to a 2-stop strategy, but Jasper taking him all the way down to the bus stop. Does the bus terminate here? I suspect it probably will. He's going to shoot it out of the bus stop. Chicane, Mastarius right up in the gearbox, looking to try and get the inside line, but you can't go until the driver goes in front, and he's gone
There we
now.
go,
And
he's away.
Mastarius is already being caught by Maya. Who was? Maya was ready to jump there, but Jasper's just going to leave. I'll set camera off. I can see him laughing on the camera above.
Jasper's away like a wasp. There we go. Yeah, Maya ahead of Mastarius. He's got a penalty time to make up. So does Mastarius. Maya using that one lap fresh medium tyre to his advantage. The number 12 car chasing down the McLaren. It looks to be potentially an easy overtake. Not yet though. We'll have to wait towards the end of the lap, but he's already gained about 5 tenths on the McLaren, who had a pretty decent getaway. Nothing marvellous, but well, he didn't spin, so it wasn't too tragic either. And the Kangaskhan up still in P5. I don't believe there was many moves made on the restart. However, it is Maya now leading ahead of Mastarius, with Jasper still on the road. And remember that Jasper and Mastarius both have to box. They're the only drivers that still need to carry out their mandatory pit stop, so that will send them down the road. So effectively it is Maya leading this race, but with that 5-second time penalty, that's going to make it a lot more difficult. And for the likes of Mert, well, he will be rubbing his hands with joy at the prospect of potentially a race win here, Fozzie.
Yep, keep your eyes on Daigoro. He's got those brand new soft tyres, and he's looking in a racing mood as well. He's trying to find a way past the McLaren driver of RSD in front of him. It looked like he was going to make a move coming on the exit of Puon, but at the moment he's getting showered in sparks at the moment, so he hasn't been able to make a move just yet, but he might be able to as we come down towards the bus stop. Will the birthday boy be able to bash his way through and get up into P6? Well, he's got a bit of slipstream, but there doesn't seem to be a way through for him. He's going to have to wait just a little bit longer. Yeah, maybe a switchback. We see Amir and Kicklin fighting it out as well. Look at this, Kicklin and Aston Martin trying to make his way through. He's managed to get up into P9. He's
Maya and Jasper side by side. Maya going wide at turn 1 at La Source. They're still side by side on the run into Eau Rouge. The McLaren backs out of the moves, looking to take the slipstream, and he knows he's got to go for the maximum race time. It is still Maya now ahead of Jasper, leading this race all in, all out, and it's Red Bull that leads, with Mastarius and Mert looking to battle. And look, is the McLaren looking to make a move here, or is he just defending from the Aston Martin driver of Mastarius? It's too wide into the braking zone. They sort themselves out, and it's still Maya ahead of the McLaren, and the Aston Martin and the Mercedes are both looking to fight it out here as we go into the rest of the racetrack and through to Sector 2. It's been an almighty battle between those two cars. Remember, Jasper and Mastarius is all well and good them fighting out now, but they still going to have to take about 25 seconds worth of time in the pit stop, and they won't get that back unless there is another safety car. That's what they're looking for, and it's 9/10 separation now between the Red Bull and the McLaren, Fozzie.
Yep, Merg looking to try and make that move on. Mastarius as well on track. Birdie manages to just hold back a little bit and probably waits for a slightly safer corner to make that happen. It looks like the launch has gone round, and yes he has. That is the Williams driver out into the gravel on the exit of Fagné between turns 13 and 14. Has he got any damage? The front wing looks okay, but it's very hard to check the side pods and everything from the off-board cameras. So we'll have to see if he has a sudden drop in performance and whether he's going to be coming into the pits as well. Marcus is not too far behind the Alpha Tauri team, who've been battling their way at the back end of the grid as well. But how's it all looking at the front? DRS is enabled. Don't forget, you don't have it for the first 2 laps after a safety car, so this might put things into contention. What moves are we get? Yep.
Sorry, Daigoro trying it at turn 1. He's got that grip. Not for long though. Those soft tyres will fade. He tried to move out of the bus stop and into turn 1. He will now get DRS. Him and RSD have been going at it tongue and tongue, heading against each other, sword by sword. And now look at the slipstream potential. That Ferrari already looking towards the outside. The 66 car battling the McLaren. The McLaren will take the inside line. He's going to take the grip. They rub tyre barriers there. That's very close. And the RSD is around. There was contact made. The McLaren is around, and it's Daigoro up into P6. That will be a meeting in the stewards, I'm sure. There are rubbing wheels and everything, and that is rain. I am seeing rain on my screen. This is going to turn it upside down. Just when Mastarius might have played a strategic masterpiece here, they're yet to box. If they can keep going until the wet tyres, that will keep themselves likely in P2 and P3. This is going to change literally everything in this race, and Daigoro has just got, well, dispensed of the McLaren in multiple ways, and he's now looking to charge on the Williams driver of Kangaskhan, taking a bit of an interesting line out of that corner there. But look at that shot. The rain is falling and it's starting to increase. Hey, whoa, look at the car there. I believe that was a Mercedes. Jeremy Clarkson getting it all crossed up on the exit of that corner. And there was a yellow flag, and Markham is out. He's shattered his wing. He is out of this race. That could be a safety car, and it could be time to change from slicks to the wet tyres, Fozzie.
It could be. It's all about to kick off. I said keep your eyes on the skies, keep your eyes on the pit lane. Myers coming in, as is Jasper. Merck does well. Mysterious stays out on the mediums. Keep your eyes on that driver. That could be something interesting when it comes to the strategy. Most people, though, coming into the pit lane now. We saw RSD
Myers got to service 5 seconds.
Once. Oh, he's got to service 5 seconds. No, that's really going to hinder him. That's not what he would have wanted in the slightest. It's the intermediate tyres. Nobody's braving it for the wets. It doesn't look wet enough for the wets either. So intermediate is definitely the best call. Yep, DRS is disabled. We're seeing penalties be served by drivers in the pit lane now. Let's see, though, what Mysterious can do. It's wet on track. There's no DRS. Jeremy Clarkson and Bashi all on the slick tyres still. Keep your eyes on them. They may be heading into the pit soon or heading into the barriers even sooner.
Yeah, it looks like Liam Markham got it all wrong at Paul Ferrer and just smashed his car completely, and that was him out. He had 2 DNFs already in a row, and that makes a third for the driver, the British driver. Wow, there goes Mysterious, just about hanging on to the Aston Martin. 28 car turning 28 degrees in the wrong direction. Through No Name, just hanging on briefly, heading down to P1. He's losing so much time to those cars on Inters. He had the opportunity here to potentially come out P2, and he's absolutely thrown that all away by not coming into the pits that lap, and that has cost him a potential massive haul of points, and this is detrimental now to his race. Look at it, it's diminishing returns here, staying out. He's struggling for grip. The mediums, he's sailing. He's drifting around the corner, and there is a virtual safety car out. That is the only thing here now that could help him out slightly. He's lost so much time. He's just it's a sailing boat, essentially, is what we're witnessing here, and that is not a way to race a car around Spa, and he is going to find it so difficult just to get on the pit entry. Look at him struggling, 6th gear, wheel spinning in the wrong direction. It's so tough out there, and these medium tyres are past it in these wet conditions. We saw in qualifying how quickly it goes from dry to wet, and we've seen the same in the race. He should have known better, and it's going to cost him more. Into the brakes now, braking early, just a very gentle approach towards the pits. Try and put the power down, but try not to spin it. He looks towards the pit entry, manages to miss that little bit of rock, but look how slow he's drifting through. Clarkson enters the pits as well, and that has been a dismal display of a lap for Mysterious.
Bashi already missing the pit entry there. How did Mysterious keep that going in the right direction? So many times he very nearly lost it, but well done to him for saving some of those moves. That was some stellar driving there, but yeah, maybe the strategy to be questioned. At the moment then, under the virtual safety car, it's Merck that leads from Jasper and Kangaskhan. Remember, it's a virtual safety car, so this could end at any moment. So be ready for the green flag.
You see where Jasper came out. He's P2, and he had yet to box. That's what I mean. We were saying earlier about the wets. If you time it right, you'll stop. So I think someone's tyres just exploded.
Getting ready. Here we go. It's a green flag then. We'll talk about Jasper in a moment. Merck is going to try and get ahead though, away from Jasper. Sorry, Cameron, I've set you off again. I can see you. But someone who's also going off is Merck. He's trying to get away, as I say, from the McLaren driver. Oh, and the McLaren driver's taking quite a lot of curb as well. That's dangerous. Look at this. Jeremy Clarkson and Kicklin, no. Oh, who's going to come out on top here? Kicklin's not going to let it go. Kicklin's going to go grass cutting once more, and he's going to go into the back of the Mercedes. Oh no, that could be another penalty. It could also be wing damage as well. Kicklin looking very feisty for some more points. He's currently P6. Clarkson P5. Kicklin's got his teammate Mysterious behind him in P7, who could have been, as we said, a lot further in front should that strategy have gone in his direction, but it didn't look like it did. And to me, Cameron, the rain just seems to be getting heavier. Maybe it's just because we're going a little bit quicker. Remember, no DRS anymore. That's been disabled by race control, so it's all down to slipstream and driver skill to try and get your way up in front of your rivals. Merck's got a comfortable lead at the moment of over half a second. Kangaskhan is behind Jasper by also half a second, and that might all change in the space of a few corners. Kicklin, don't forget, has got a 3-second time penalty. It doesn't look like he's picked up another penalty from that contact with Jeremy Clarkson at turn 8.
It might not be comfortable for long there between Merckx and Jasper. Jasper did gain a little bit, and look at the exit there of Merckx, just struggling a little bit on the power. The inter tyre is the best tyre to be on, but it still makes life a little bit more difficult as we see Kangaskhan looking towards the inside there. Thought better of it. Doralton would not be too happy there if he ended up with a broken wing, but Maya, suffering that 5-second pit stop in the garage, has cost him massively here, especially on a wet track. As you said earlier, DRS is disabled, so that makes overtaking a little bit harder, and it's more just a fact of just holding on now, holding on for the remaining 8 laps in order to survive and take away at least some good points in their battle with the likes of Alpine, etc. in this Invictus Racing League Season 13 PCF1 Belgian Grand Prix, brought to you in partnership with GT Omega, Driver 61 and Grid Finder. Here on lap 14 of 22, the action is still relentless, and so is the weather. 3-4 tenths separate Jasper and Merckx. Jasper gaining an almighty load of positions, 12 from where he started, and now Kangaskhan, the experienced driver, certainly looking towards a move here. As we mentioned, I mean, Merckx, talk about experience, he was last season's championship winner, unfortunately having a little bit of a rough season so far this year, and or so far this season, and Kangaskhan also up there in, well, he's leading currently, so this will be interesting to see. Now Jasper is an unknown quantity as
Martinov Kicklin spinning around and losing a bit of his front wing. It looks like the front left end plate has come off that Aston Martin, so there must have been some contact with the wall there. Kicklin now drops down towards the back ends of the points. He's coming in P9, and he's got to do a sector and a half in the wet and with half a wing as well, so he's liable to be overtaken by Bashi, who we haven't spoke about too much this race. He's been struggling at the back after having a few spins on the first lap, but he's slowly making his way up from P16 now up to P10, and taking a bit of a curb with him as well. We have lost 3 drivers from this race so far: Liam Markham, Undertaker and Owen is vibing. As we talk about, one Aston Martin, the other one gets a penalty of 3 seconds, which could hinder him at the end of this race. He goes a little bit off the racing line as he makes his way through bus stop as well. But look at this, Kangaskhan's not too far behind Jasper. Jasper currently P2. Where did he finish last time? It was also P2. So he's looking to try and make an improvement on that and head up to the top step of the podium. No DRS, but what slipstream is Kangaskhan able to get? As we see Kicklin coming into the pit lane, he's going to be changing his front wing after that incident there. But Kangaskhan has got a good drive through Eau Rouge and up through Radion as well. Is there going to be enough slipstream? He's about a quarter of a second behind the McLaren of Jasper, but he's going to be hoping for a couple more 100 metres in order to make a move into Le Coms there. So he's going to save that for a little bit later in the lap as well. It's Merckx that leads from Jasper, Kangaskhan, Meyer and Jeremy Clarkson, who's got Mystaris a couple of seconds behind him and is running a bit of a lonely race at the moment with no one too close to Jeremy Clarkson. Has he got any damage at the back of his car from when he had that moment with the other driver earlier? Well, it doesn't look like he's dropped off too much pace at the moment. Kangaskhan definitely trying to make a move on Jasper though.
Amir, who got sacrificed during the early pit stops with that double stack, now fighting for the lower end of the points. He was running, well, second, and now he's running 8th, but Daigoro and him will be looking to battle it out for P7. No issues behind. Bashi, as you mentioned earlier, having a bit of a difficult Grand Prix, and 10 seconds is the gap. So it's going to be just a 2-horse battle, the prancing horse versus the charging bull, and who will come out on top. And it's going to, well, it's going to have to be resolved shortly, as we do see Amir generally has a bit of a better exit through the medium speed corners, but it's up to Daigoro to try and defend that. And well, the main overtaking opportunities here, you would say, are either at the end of the bus stop chicane, La Source, or at the end of the Kemmel, and that is generally all aided via the DRS and slipstream. And it's going to have to all be done manually as Amir takes way off the track there. Manages to gain quite a lot of speed though. Does back out. Potentially looked alongside. He is now alongside. Does he get the traction around the outside on the exit of the bus stop chicane? He does indeed, and Amir is up to P7. It's not where he'd want to be, but it's better than where he was previously. P7 for the Red Bull, whilst his teammate runs P4 and is actually gaining on Kangaskhan. Last time I checked was 1.5 seconds. It's now 1.2, so that battle is potentially heating up, and Kangaskhan 2 tenths behind Jasper. Does he look for a move? He's got to make the move soon. He does look towards the inside, but backs out, has a little look, tries to potentially make Jasper move, but Jasper is set in stone and does not want to lose that P2 position there for McLaren. What a result that would be. But now Meyer is within a second. Doesn't matter for DRS term, but does matter to make that overtaking opportunity arise a little bit quick. And you see the top 4, none of them managing to break away, and they're in fact just kind of slowing each other down. And 9/10 said to Meyer, will he be involved and will he be able to come out on top? He's had mega levels of downforce we've seen and was able to lead the race pretty comfortably earlier. Didn't create a massive gap, but was managing to hold on 9/10 or so. And you have to imagine what's going to come out on top, or who's going to come out on top here. But Merckx does lead the race. The last time he won was a little while ago, as back in France was his last race win this season. So this could be his second race win, and we're certainly bumping up in the championship standings. He's P6 at the moment with 21 points, 1 point behind Nico, and a couple points behind Undertaker in Alpine. And will he be able to hold on, though? That's all the question here, as we see Kangaskhan again looking very racy towards that, but just not close enough. He needs to just be that little bit closer in the braking zone to try and make a move happen. Although we did see what Amir did earlier. If you can get the switchback on the outside, seems to be where the grip is. And Amir then gets a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what that time penalty was for. Maybe just going a little bit too wide round one of the corners. But Kangaskhan, let's see how close he is to the McLaren as we head through the Eau Rouge Rally on Complex. This time around, last lap, it was a little bit about... it's about 2:10. Sorry, Cameron's just knocked something over on stream, on camera, so I'm just going to ignore that. He's having a lot of laughter going on today. We're distracting each other. Someone who's not distracted is Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan from this overtake. Is he going to be able to make it work on the McLaren driver? No, he is just...
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, it's happened. We had a race weekend where it didn't happen. Just like Kangaskhan's chances on overtaking Jasper, the chances there certainly increased of Fozzie's bike flying towards Russia. Although he's got a weakened bit to get there, it's already over in the Sochi Autodrome. But Kangaskhan is still trying to fight Jasper to get P2, but unfortunately his opportunities have escaped him, as we see someone else getting another penalty there. All the penalties are coming in, multiple warnings. Spa is a difficult track. A lot of that will just be for track extending and the likes, in order to just try and survive this track in these conditions. A massive admiration of respect for all these drivers managing to race and bring us this in quite difficult conditions. With about 5 laps to go, the race still isn't over either. You see Amaya, we mentioned him earlier, look how quickly he's caught up now, 3 attempts to Kangaskhan. He is definitely back in with a chance of getting that podium, but remember, he does now have a 3-second time penalty, so he will be looking for the other drivers to experience some massive lockups is not what he wants to experience, but experience some misfortune and acquire some 3-second penalties. But P4, he's got Clarkson behind, 1.3 seconds. This could more be a battle of keeping Clarkson behind out of that 3-second range, rather than trying to chase on to the back. We saw this last round as well, didn't we, with, I believe, Nico, who had a 3-second time penalty during the last couple laps and was unable to take the win. And the other drivers did. Kangaskhan took the win in the end. So penalties do cost, time obviously, and do potentially cost a lot of points in the long run and a championship battle. But Kangaskhan still looking, ever edging towards Jasper and Maya, who's actually got out of the slipstream range now. I do wonder if that's trying to protect his tyres a little bit. He went to try and find a bit more water on the track. Or whether that was just to not force himself into an opportunity where he needs to overtake, because that will cost him nothing but time and potentially very little points in return if he doesn't keep within, or doesn't keep Clarkson out of that 3-second time penalty. Through No Name though, good traction for all the drivers there, and Merckx is leading a very fine race indeed. Obviously helped by the weather, but it's no mean feat to try and keep the car facing in the right direction, as we've seen other cars suffer as the camera gets absolutely covered in water there. But 5 attempts now separate Jasper and Kangaskhan. We look down towards throughout the rest of the pack. We got the likes of Daigora and Amir. They had that battle. Battle seems to have fizzled out. Amir has gapped him by 1.9 seconds. But again, there's penalties involved there. But RSD and Bashi are at it potentially here through turn 10 and 11. P1 and heading into the heavy downforce requirements of this track. The 15 car of Bashi looking to defend his position from the McLaren driver RSD, who had very good points last time out, and will be looking for hopefully the same this time. Currently P10, take home a singular point. He's got Delange 8 seconds behind. And you have to say that both cars are quite evenly matched, Fozzie, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top as we look towards the top battle. and Kagakon is just getting ever so slightly in the braking zones and in the traction zones, but not enough to get the job done on Jasper.
No, he's actually further back than where he was a few laps ago. Bashi again gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. I don't know what line he just took, but he does seem to be quite a bit ahead of RSD, so maybe it wasn't one that Michael Massey would have been too happy with. Back to the front now. Kangakan is not too far behind Jasper. He stayed within that 2 to 4 tenths region for the past few laps now, unable to properly make a gain. As you say, he's been able to close right up in the braking zones, but when it comes to his straights, it looks like Jasper is able just to pull away a little bit more. We can see Kangakan trying to hug the inside line of the corners and try and take the apex just to minimise the distance that the car has to travel, so we can slowly but surely build up closer to the McLaren driver. He's getting covered in spray as well as we go around Pouon. Very wet on track at the moment. Jasper, though, quite comfortable behind Merckx as well. Merckx running a fairly comfortable as you can be race. He's not under threat from Jasper too much. Jasper's staying again within that half a second region, so maybe Merckx is just a little bit contempt up at the front. He hasn't got a penalty, although neither did Jasper and Kangakan behind, but there's 3 laps to go. We know that anything can happen within those 3 laps. Let's have a look at Cameron, because he's got something to say.
Yeah, let's have a look. I was just mentioning that Jasper actually scored, well, he was P2 last time out, and this could be another potential P2 on the cards, but Kangakan looking to take that away from him. Their wheel to wheel is ever so tight. We see the right hand line generally gets better traction, and it does get better traction, and Kangakan is now ahead of Jasper, P2. Can he chase down Merckx with 2 laps to go? Well, that massive lockup won't assist him in that cause, but Jasper now has it all to do to try and fight for P2. He finished second last time. It could be third, or it could even be first, or it could be anything because we don't know. But Merckx is now a second ahead of Kangakan. That little fight between Kangakan and
goes
Jasper.
RSD at the bus stop chicane. He was trying to get past Bashi. He spins it around and keeps it going fairly quickly, though managed to get a good bit of traction to spin it back around. But for RSD, who qualified 3rd position, now finds himself in the final points position, and he's got DeLonge not too far behind him as well, who might be taking that final point from him if DeLonge can close up a little bit and take advantage of the 3-second time penalty that RSD has got. But Jasper's still looking racy. He's not too far behind Kangakan, so don't count him out for a P2 position in this one still.
McLaren are going to be very happy with his result. A little bit awkward with RSD a little bit further down, but 2 point hauls for the team will be, quite lovely welcomed, I'd imagine, and especially if Jasper takes P3, P2, and that will be an almighty amount of points for McLaren. They were having struggles in very much the early start of the season, swapped their lineup a couple rounds ago, and now they are showing that they are in the fight for, potentially the Constructors' title, but definitely the top 3, especially if we look at the results that they're taking today so far. And Meyer, unfortunately, again, hasn't managed to really regain too much ground. He's just holding on, and in fact Clarkson is within that second now of Meyer, which does assist in overtaking, obviously without DRS, but it is within the slipstream. And Meyer, though, is within a tenth here of Jasper. Will he look down the inside? It's late, hardly alongside. It's going to cost him more time than anything else. Looks for the switchback, has to go for it. Clarkson's very much looking forward to a move here, but has managed to, regain positions. And Meyer now looking towards the outside of Lasource. Does he break early? Go for a switchback? No. Breaks the side-by-side. The Papaya versus the Red Bull. McLaren is still ahead of the Charging Bull. Although he is defiant, the Dane is looking for a daring move towards the end of the Kemmel Straight. He will have the slipstream, but will he have ultimately the pace to make a move into Lecombe? Meyer now looks towards the outside. He'll have the outside line into the corner. There's a bit of a squeeze from the McLaren. It's going to be tight. Who gets ahead on braking? It's the McLaren still ahead initially. The Red Bull ahead throughout the mid phase of the corner, but the Red Bull gets squeezed out and has to back out of that overtaking manoeuvre. But mental defending from Jasper there. Now that is commendable from the McLaren driver.
Not just someone on the door of P5, and I think it's Jeremy Clarkson who's looking to make a move on Meyer as well. It looks like we have Bashi off at Radion as well, and yes we do. The AlphaTauri driver trying to make his way onto the Kemmel Straight. It's not been a good race for him. 16 seconds worth of penalties, and finds himself down in P11 trying to stay out of the way of people coming up the blind crest of Radion. He's now last, down in 13th, so not the best event for the AlphaTauri team. Up at the front though, Meyer still trying to make moves on Jasper. Clarkson still trying to make moves on Meyer. And don't count out Mysterious from this one as well. Jeremy Clarkson's in a good position though. He's the only one who doesn't have a penalty around him, barring the top 3, that is. So he could be on for a P4 here, could Jeremy Clarkson. All still to play for, and he might try and make that position up on track as well as he gains and gains and gains on the Red Bull in front of him. And Cameron, I'm sure, will remind you later on what the Japanese means on the rear ring of that car. Is he able to make a move here, though? But he's needing to try and find all the grip and all the traction, and it looks like Myers just found a little bit more than what Jamie Clarkson was able to there, and does put away quite nicely. And that looks like a bit of a lock-up for Jasper. I just managed to catch as he braked into the source. Down the inside goes the Mercedes of Jeremy Clarkson. Tried to make a move on Meyer there, who I think outbraked himself and locked up. And he's going to get a slightly better drive down through Eau Rouge as well. Jeremy Clarkson is P5 and it's Meyer in P4, but that might all be about to change at the end of the Kenmore Straight, because it looks like Clarkson's going to take the slipstream and take the left-hand side and take the position. Jeremy Clarkson up to P4 unless Meyer can do something about it, but he doesn't look like he's able to. We are on the last lap of this race. All positions here of the top 4 are fairly confirmed unless there's any big major mistakes. Mert currently leads from Kanken, Jasper and Jeremy Clarkson, but Meyer is there with that 3-second time penalty, looking to take a little bit of on-track pride and get up to P4 again, as he has a little bit of a twitch coming out of that corner there, out of turn 8 and turn 9.
Look at Masaris though. Look at Mysteris, he has a lot of power here, a lot of downforce with Clarkson and Meyer battling out. He's suddenly come into the fray as he's struggling for grip around Pouon, really putting the pedal to the metal, trying to get the job done. He was within 2 attempts. I don't think that's going to, unfortunately, become a fruit anymore, but they are equal on penalties, so if he does get ahead of Meyer, that will be a top 5 finish for the Aston Martin driver, as Meyer now looks to heavily defend from Mysterious. The battle is not with Clarkson, but with Aston Martin, and the battle is almost over for Mert and Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, he charged as much as he could, got past Jasper with that daring move, but unfortunately hasn't been able to catch Mert but long enough. But bear in mind, Kangaskhan is the championship leader and he's behind last season's championship winner Mert. He's just got the line to cross over and takes another win in season 13. His first win this season was in France. His second win this season was in Belgium.
Mysterious in style. Mysterious spinning around the line. I think he tried just to make one final move on Meyer, but he put a little bit too much power down, but he managed to keep it under the wall and finishes the race in P6. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. Might be Digorio going a little bit slow. The birthday boy slowly rolling it down to the line, and it looks like, yeah, he might just be in low fuel mode, so not too great for him.
Oh dear.
Star's just got a quite a significant time penalty there. Digorio does look like he has a bit more pace in him now. But your top 5 as it stands: Merck from Kangaskhan, Jasper, Clarkson and Meyer.
Jasper there, absolute standout drive. Called strategy at the perfect time. Managed to hold on. Jasper had a podium last time out as well in Austria. So that's 2 podiums in a row. And it's 3 podiums in a row for Kangaskhan. He finished 2nd in Britain, 1 in Austria, and comes 2nd again. Now that is why he's at the top of the championship. That consistency is insane. In fact, he's had, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 podiums so far this season, and 2 wins as well. So insane driving from Kangaskhan. And throughout the rest of the field, those who managed to hang on, brilliant job, because that was tough out there. And you have to feel for Meyer, who started on pole as well. Unfortunately got a little bit messed up by that penalty, which hindered him ultimately in the end, and especially I feel sorry for Amir, but he did recover well. Amir ended up P6 behind his teammates. So although the Danes were running 1-2, they finish P5 and P6. Not what they wanted, but it's a good points haul against their competitors Alpine. But that brings an end to the Belgian Grand Prix. And that was fun. I thought it was going to be a fun one. Fozzie, I always look forward to this race in real life and both virtually. And that was one way to do it, as Jasper is claimed your driver of the day. But let us know yours in the comments.
Yeah, at least we got one exciting Belgian Grand Prix this year. We had a bit of everything as well. We had strategy mix-up, we had dry, we had rain, we had safety cars, we had virtual safety cars, and we had another stellar drive by all the drivers on the grid. But at the end of the day, it's Mercedes that take the pole position. Williams joins them up on the podium as well. Where have we seen that one before?
Indeed, indeed. At least we got some running this time. You had to fight for it. But there we go. Some great running there. The English and the French and anyone else involved. Really good driving from the Dutch driver. That was little Jasper. Couldn't remember what his flag was there. But started 14th on the grid. Brilliant drive. That is what McLaren need. That promotes him so highly up. And in fact, he claims the fastest lap as well. So that would be 11 points for him. But your winner ultimately was Merckx. He does shine in these races where there are difficulties. You think about France, we had a few difficulties in that one, and he shone there, was able to take the win. So that experience does come into fashion. But anyway, thank you for joining us. Do check out the stewards' findings, etc., which should be out some point this week for anything that might change. Saw a couple of incidents there which might affect the race result, but hopefully nothing for the top points, because as far as we saw, there was nothing but good racing there. Anyway, I would say join us next week, but don't, because we won't be here. It's a week off for the season. But do look forward to joining us in Russia on the 3rd of November. Crikey, it's November already. Well, it's not now, but it will be. And then we've got the likes of Hungary, the Netherlands, Italy, not Abu Dhabi, Spain, Singapore, and Mexico, as Abu Dhabi is replaced by Portimao. But anyway, join us then on the 3rd of November. Have a safe Halloween. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Have a good one, and goodbye. He says, I'll get the right thumbnail. There we go.